Hey, Steve Magnante here at High Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts with another high octane walk around. Now, all of you Chevy enthusiasts out there, and there are millions of you, are fully aware of the SS Super Sport. It was Chevrolet's performance-oriented vehicle, available on everything from Nova to Impala, Camaro, and Chevelle. Now, of course, the SS arrived in 1961 as an option group on full-size Chevys, but eventually grew into probably the most popular of them all, the Chevelle SS 396. Now, this is a 1969, the peak year for SS 396 Chevelle production, with a total of 87,030 units. That was significantly more than 67 or 68 or 70 or 71, etc. So the peak year, the most popular year for SS 396 Chevelles was right here. But here's the irony. While it says SS 396 on the front fender, midway through the 1969 model year, Chevrolet actually increased the bore diameter of the 396 from 4.094 inch to 4.125 inches, making it a 402. So they didn't change the 396, but these are actually SS 402s. And with that said, they never did capitalize on that with an SS 402 model in 70, 71, 72. Crazy but true. I guess they figured there was enough cachet and value in the SS 396 moniker, which was a legend on the street, to mess with it. So the SS 396, even though it's actually an SS 402 from mid-69 onward. But with that said, the SS, of course, has the beautiful horizontal stripe, which was one of a few different option stripe packages. I happen to like this the best. And of course, disc brakes up front, the mighty SS nomenclature on the wheels. And in this one here, we see, I think, the second year, third year, for the blacked out tail panel right here. So it's the same trunk and tail stamping as any other Malibu or 352 barrel car, but with the blacked out area here, it gives a better contrast to the white SS 396 and allows the GTO or the Roadrunner behind you in traffic to realize that, hey, that's not a 350 Malibu. That's something with a big block in it. I better think twice before I take it on. And one thing that's great about these is, although it is a mid-sized car, these have nice big trunks. Let's take a peek inside here and see how big that trunk is. Yeah, right here. I mean, that's big enough for a week's worth of groceries and then some. 3 or 4 suitcases for a nice week-long trip, a cross-country drive, no problem. And again, the SS had a stiffer suspension. It had a rear sway bar, also boxed rear lower control arms to prevent axle hop on hard acceleration. So it was more than just a family car. It was a fun muscle car. And again, muscle is all about what's under the hood. And let's have a look at that SS 396, or I mean 402. And like any 1960s muscle car, the SS 396 had its own unique hood, which was not available on a regular Malibu or Chevelle or 300, as they say. And again, this is the double hump scoop right here, 1969. And the beauty of this thing right here is these chrome grills here absolutely are functional. But the irony is, unlike 1970, where this cowl induction system would feed the engine with a flapper door, in 1969, these two cowls, vents, feed air into the cowl, which is separated from the engine base. So these actually feed air into the car for ram air for the driver and the passenger. With that said, this hood right here, although it doesn't do anything for the engine, sold a heck of a lot of Chevelle SSs because it just looks awesome. And it sets these apart from the lesser regular mom and pop Chevelles and Malibus. Okay, let's pop that hood and look at that engine. Now this one here, the mighty big block Chevrolet, it has been lightly modified, has the Moroso valve covers on there, some tube steel headers, a YN Team G dual plane aluminum intake, still has the Holley 4-barrel, which was certainly possible on the top tier 396. But again, something we see on this one that kind of hides in plain sight. The heads are orange, looks like iron, but if we look really close over here, the word Merlin cast in right there. And that is Bill Mitchell. And of course, Merlin means these heads have bigger ports, bigger valves. And again, they're iron, but they are sort of sleeper heads that have better port volume than even an LS6 454. Good stuff. But again, this is the year right here, 1969, where the 396 became a 402, but there was no change made to the emblem. Again, Chevrolet said, hey, the SS 396, like Pontiac GTO or Olds 442, let's not mess with that formula for success. And again, with 87,030 made, including a handful of 427 Copo cars, 69 was the peak year for Chevelle SS output. Now, we're going to go to the interior in a second, but don't leave this video without sticking around to the end. We're going to hear this engine fire up and rev. It's cool. Yeah, inside this one, of course, the bucket seats. But here's the thing. A lot of folks say that, well, it's got to be an SS. It has bucket seats. We got to remember that the A51 Strato bucket seats were actually optional for about 120 bucks, even on Super Sport. So you actually paid extra for the Strato bucket seats. And again, that's just one of those things that GM did to build in some profit. If you wanted, you could get your Chevelle Super Sport with a 4-speed and a bench if you really wanted, and they certainly were built. Now, this one, again, is a 4-speed manual transmission right here. Believe it or not, the 3-speed manual was base standard stuff on the SS 396. It was a heavy-duty 3-speed manual, but with that said, 184 bucks more got you the mighty Muncie 4-speed, which we have right here. And of course, it's aluminum case transmission, unlike Ford and Chrysler 4-speeds, which were iron. GM was kind of ahead of the curve with weight in making their Muncies out of aluminum. Kind of a cool thing. This does have the full Super Sport instrument panel, tachometer, 120 mile speedometer, and again, Super Sport baked into the horn center of the steering wheel. And on the doors, you'll see SS 396 right there, and Chevrolet was not going to mess around with that, so don't call it an SS 402. The beauty of the SS 396 in 1969 was the fact that only $347 is all it took to add the mighty 396 or 402 big block to a Chevelle two-door. Now, unfortunately, there was never an SS 396 four-door or station wagon in the Chevelle line. Would have been cool, but these were only available as two-door hardtops, two-door posts for the final year, and of course the convertible. But again, a total of 87,030 people said, you know what, I love that car, I'll take one, even though it's actually an SS 402, but only we know that. If you like this car, be sure to check it out on the High Octane Classics website.